This is Curtis with Question Everything. I'm here with Michael BenMeleh, also known as Son of the King.
Guilty.
Right? Guilty. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great. We had a fantastic class here tonight, a great Torah class. And, well, first of all, tell me, what drives you to have this class every Tuesday night? It's amazing. I just discovered your Torah and your nuggets of wisdom, and tonight we did an incredible class regarding the afterlife, about such unique, provocative, ephemeral topics. What gives you the drive to come here every week and come up with this thesis? And really, I mean, it's so chock full of gold. What keeps you in the game?
It's a great question. I think for me personally, I think about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I realized that I had, a passion for spreading Torah. And originally I was an organizer of having Torah classes being spread. And at some point I got into teaching myself, and I found that it became a big passion of mine. So not only was I into the idea of bringing people close to come to classes, but even going a step ahead and actually teaching myself and inspiring other people. And that's actually one of the things that keeps me ticking, keeps me happy, keeps me motivated, and essentially doing my job in this world. That God gives you, it gives you X amount of time in this world to do my job, which I feel like is something I have a lot of passion for, which is helping people grow and get close to God.
And where do you get your inspiration for your classes, for your Torah classes?
Most of my Torah classes are being inspired by Rav Nachman of Breslov, who is one of the main tzaddikim that I follow in the path of what he teaches. And usually all the classes begin from all his books and then can branch out to different subjects and topics that are connected to his stories classes.
For folks out there who don't know who Rav Nachman was, why should they pay attention to Rav Nachman now? I happen to think he's extremely topical, and I think that he was very much speaking about the maladies and the woes of this generation. But what's your opinion? Why should someone pay attention to find out who is Rav Nachman and what his work is all about?
It's a great question. Rav Nachman, what he does is he's literally now the voice of our generation. And a generation that we're in right now with so much sadness and depression and atheism and lack of faith in God and no connection to anything spirituality. He is literally the antithesis for that. He's the one who's actually pushing people to grow, get close to God, speaking in the language of our generation. Again, as we know, a generation that looks for any sort of way to get out of anxiety, get out of anything, darkness, drugs, etc. Whatever it takes, there are other methods that you can do that he teaches.
How did we get here as a culture? Why are we so sad?
Why are we so sad? I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is, first of all, we know that the generation before the Mashiach is going to come, it's going to be a low generation spiritually. We know specifically that the Satan and the evil spiritual forces that are engulfing this world are making it very hard for people to connect. And therefore, people turn to materialism as a way to find happiness. And then they find that through social media, in general, which is a disaster for humankind in regards to how people look at themselves and look at the world around them and how to even socialize with other people. We're got down to this point where it's bad.
It's bad. Now, I know one of your colleagues, Gadol Fencer, he talks about Rav Nachman, and he particularly talks about, he is very candid with men in their 20s and 30s and above, talking about Tikkun HaBrit. Why is that so important for folks who, first of all, who don't know what Tikkun HaBrit is? Well, why should they pay attention? We were just mentioning it today in tonight's class, is, spilling your seed, if you will. Why is that important to pay attention to?
Because Tikkun HaBrit, the concept of keeping purity in regards to your private part, for a man specifically, also we could talk about it for a woman, but it's literally the key to holiness. If a person doesn't keep the Brit, and I could show you that through Kabbalistic Sfirot and how the structure works, how the blessing from God comes from above and flows down below. It's the last foundation that holds all of the energy before we receive it in the world. So if that is not, if the foundation of a building is not good, guess what happens? The whole building crumbles.
The blueprint.
But literally the sphera, the key that holds all of the blessings a person's going to receive, both materially and spiritually, comes from keeping the Brit. So if a person doesn't keep it, guess what happens? I have no connection to God. I could care less. I'm not interested.
Yeah. Well, how do we do that? And, I mean, is that realistic in the world where we're living on our phones 24/6, maybe even more so, when it's, pornography is pervasive? I mean, is that a realistic plan in 2023?
Absolutely, 100% it is. It's like anything else in life, a person learns how to condition themselves. There are many remedies for that. Learning Torah is one of them. Speaking to God is another one. Saying specific type of tehillims every day is going to help you to do that. And at the end of the day, it's all practice. If a person learns how to use their iPhone, learning how to do shutdown time, control your apps, and come up with other methodologies, you have to have a game plan. It's an action. It's a war. It's literally a battle. And you have to learn when you go out to battle, how are you going to prepare for the battle?
Right. And we didn't really get the manual for our phones, did we?
No, we just learned how to use it on YouTube.
Right. So one of the takeaways for me was in tonight's class was the world to come, that we should always be thinking about the world to come. For folks out there, what is the world to come? We were talking about that when we were dissecting it. You dissected it so beautifully. Why should we think about the world to come, and what is the world to come?
The world to come is essentially the next place that our soul is destined to go to after 120 years, God willing. And the world to come is going to be the place essentially where we're going to be basking in the presence of God, in the light of God, and essentially it's an incredible euphoric experience that there is not one pleasure in the world, as we spoke about it from many different angles, that can even touch or even come close to the euphoria that we're going to experience, because God at the end of the day is the true source of joy and happiness that anybody can receive the most happiness from. It's everything that we have in this world that we think about. Where does it come from? Let's say of joy. It comes from God, and God is everything, right? So the idea of going to the next world and going to be there and being able to earn it, to make your keep in this world to be able to get there, that's the ultimate purpose that we have in life, is to get close to God in this world, to benefit and be on a higher level closest to God in the next world.
Wow. How can one find you? How can they link up with you? How can they connect with you?
Right now, you can definitely look me up through Facebook. Look up the name Michael BenMeleh. That's BenMeleh. We have a new website coming out called Emunah Light, which is essentially twofold. You have all my classes, and as well as a new thing we're doing, which is called spiritual coaching, where we're helping people, whether they're trying to get through all obstacles in their life, but more importantly, whatever aspect of their life they're in. Some people could be, let's say, higher religiously here, and they need a lot of help in different areas, to someone who's not even connected. My goal is to try to build you up and grow and grow and grow in a real refined coaching matter, with real plan of action, with being on top of you weekly, to see your success like in anything else.
Beautiful. Well, we'll look for you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for speaking to me.